People may forget what you said, people may forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Hi, I'm Greg L. Thomas, and that's what I want to talk about today. So, what's up, YouTube? A lot of times we use the disclaimer that we didn't do anything to somebody, but passive aggressively, we know that we made them feel a certain way through our actions. It's kind of like throwing rocks and hiding your hand. And we do that a lot, and it's kind of like a manipulation in a sense, because you know how to get up under somebody's skin, or sometimes not to your own fault, just being condescending, a certain level of condescending. And so let me just give you an example, right? And sometimes it's unbeknownst to you, and you just come off condescending and you make people feel inadequate about who they are. So, as many of you know, I was incarcerated. Prison is somewhat of a subculture that breeds jealousy and hate. So you have a lot of people who are jealous. And there's three things that I've come to understand that make people dislike you instantly. One is if you have more money than them. Two is if you look better than them. And three is if you're smarter than them. So people are already insecure, and you're in a dysfunctional environment where you are around a lot of people. And sometimes, being around people at different levels just make you feel a certain type of way. If you feel like your education's not up to par, you feel like maybe you don't speak well or you don't read well. And so you're around someone who does all of those things well, it makes you feel a certain type of way. And I've experienced being in an environment like that where I don't really fit in because, again, you have people from all walks of life, but for the most part, it's a violent, toxic environment. And so guys sometimes just don't like me. And it's not because I've done anything to them personally. It's not because I intentionally tried to hurt them, or I've done anything to oppose them in any type of way. It's just that my presence makes them feel inadequate about who they are. Now, I've had this suspicion for a long time that this was the case, but it was confirmed by a few people. But the first time it was confirmed to me, it was an older guy. He told me, he said, some of these guys don't like you, and it's not because of what you've done to them. He said, it's because of the way you make them feel. I said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, it's just the words you use, your disposition, your level of confidence. You just seem comfortable about who you are. And, that rubs people the wrong way sometimes. And so I thought that was interesting because although I had suspicions, I had never really articulated it in my mind quite like he said it. But it gave me a renewed or different perspective about how my presence made people feel uncomfortable. And what I've come to realize through testing this theory and just being observant, that it's really not what you've done to someone or what you said to someone. It's how you make them feel. And as a matter of fact, you can be very kind to people, and you can do your best to, to become friendly with them. But sometimes people just don't like you. And that's what we have to come to understand in life. Sometimes people just don't like you. They just don't like you because you make them feel a certain type of way. And it's not, there's nothing really that you can do to fix it. You just have to continue to be yourself, And it's just a lasting impact we have on other people. It's not through our actions or words, but basically through the emotions that we Now, sometimes people might confuse that with energy because, well, energy, well, there's a duality here, okay? Because sometimes people just have bad energy and, you may not rock with them because of their bad energy. Although on the surface, they try to come off as being polite. But what I'm describing here is not really bad energy. It's just that people, just their own personal inadequacies, because they just feel inadequate in your presence. But both things can be true. And so our responsibility we hold and how we make others feel, we have to, it inspires accountability, for creating a positive emotional footprint in the world, because that's the only way we can make the world a better place. If we come to really acknowledge that and admit it, that, it's not always about what we've done to someone, but how we made them feel. And so this is somewhat of a manipulation and antagonizing, because people will passive aggressively fuck with you, for lack of a better word, but they'll camouflage it as, well, I didn't do anything to him, but yeah, you really did do something to him. You made him feel a certain type of way. You exploited, their insecurities about a certain thing, and you made them feel a certain type of way. It's almost like an invisible poking somebody. You poking them, but you're not poking them physically. And people resent you for that. People resent you for making them feel a certain type of way. And that's really a powerfully dangerous thing. I just really want you to understand that, and I'm sure some of you guys have probably felt the same way. You've probably been around people that they didn't actually do anything to you, but you just don't like their ass. It's just, they make you feel a certain type of way, and sometimes it's because they have bad energy, but sometimes it's just because, they just make you feel inadequate because, they might be bragging about their degrees, or bragging about their successful marriage, or bragging about their successful business. And, your experience may be different than that, or it may be the total opposite of that. And just the fact that they're bragging about it, makes you feel inadequate, and it makes you feel a certain type of way. And so you just make it up in your mind that I just don't like them, but on the other hand, it could be because they just have bad energy. And, that can be true also, and there's a delineation. But again, both of those things can be true at the same time. And I know that that's kind of confusing, but look at the video over and over again and you'll get it. All right. So, man, it's hard. It's really hard to know, when you're making somebody feel uncomfortable. It's really hard to know. Sometimes because you're just doing it on purpose. You're antagonizing people, and it's like throwing rocks and hiding your hand. Now that's a form of wickedness. When you do that. But sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes you really don't know. Sometimes you just being yourself, and there's nothing wrong with just being yourself. If you're just being yourself, you can't help how other people feel when you just genuinely being yourself, when your intentions are good, because intentions are everything. Intentions make a big difference. So as long as you have good intentions, then you need not worry about how other people feel or how you make them feel, because your intentions are good. Your intentions are pure, and people just feel the way they feel. But on the other hand, if your energy is bad and you're toxic, or if you're antagonizing people, and you playing passive aggressive games with people, stop it. That's not a good thing, because that can also get you hurt, because again, you can hide behind the disclaimers. I didn't do anything to them, but you did something. You know you did something. So, even making the world a better place, we just have to be mindful and just do the right thing. Do the responsible thing, because even though you can hide behind visually you didn't do anything, deep down inside that your intentions were not pure, and you were antagonizing. So it's like poking somebody, and it's a perpetual thing because people never forget it. And if they see you, 5 years later, they'll remember how you made them feel. It's a lot different from, having an argument with somebody, and the argument is over with, and 5 years later you see that person, you say, hey, you remember we had an argument? And they're like, no, I don't recall. Because they really don't recall, because it was nothing. It didn't make them feel any certain type of way. Or sometimes you can say to someone years later, you remember in high school we had a fight. And they, oh yeah, I remember that. That's nothing. That was just at that time in my life. I was just young and immature, and we were both young and immature. But if you made a person feel a certain type of way in high school, they'll always remember that. They'll always remember that you made them feel a certain type of way, that you made them feel inadequate, that you were toxic, that you made them feel inferior, that you were condescending toward them. People remember those kinds of things. So just be mindful. Be the best person that you can be. You don't want people to resent you, because that creates a bad energy. It's just kind of like you're enacting certain laws into the universe that you don't want to be, activated, So you just want to do your best. Although, in all fairness, people will feel inadequate, not to your own fault, because your intentions are good. And that's the key word, intentions. Keep that in mind, that as long as your intentions are good, then, you have nothing to worry about. You can proceed and do things the way you do things. All right. So that's all I have for today. Thank you. Hit that bell notification. All right. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. All right. And share the video if you like it. Now, if you don't like it, then, I'm not going to ask you to share it. But if you like it and you got something out of it, share the video. Okay. All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good day. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Today is Thanksgiving, as a matter of fact, and I'm sharing it with you guys. All right.